everybody, and welcome to my sewing room. If you haven't been here before, my name is Rosemary, and on this channel we try and do a whole lot of different kinds of sewing and embroidery and whatever just comes to mind, I guess. And right now I think what I would like to do is I'd like to do a little bit with PE design. I haven't done it in a while, and I have a quilt that I just finished. I'm going to do this for Sew Fun in October, so I'm just going to give you a little peek of it. It's a pumpkin quilt. So it's got pumpkins on it and little teeny tiny quilt piecing inside of each of the pumpkins. So I'm very happy with the way it came out, but now I have to quilt it. And I could do it on my Stellaire, and if you've watched a lot of my other videos, I do a lot of quilting on my brother Stellaire sewing machine. But I want to do this, I want to create the actual quilting in PE design, because I've had a couple people ask questions about how they could do it other than doing it in the design center of your Stellaire, Luminaire, or Dream machine. If you don't have one of those big machines, you can do it with your PE design software and then go ahead and embroider it out in your embroidery machine. So I'm going to do that. Before we get to the PE design, I have to tell you, obviously I'm not really experienced when it comes to videoing, and when I did this video where I recorded the screen in my computer, I didn't realize that when the mouse changes to an eyedropper or it changes to a hand, it doesn't show on the video, which is a little bit frustrating, and I don't quite understand it. So if I say hold down the Alt key and a hand appears, it's probably not going to appear on your actual video that you're watching. But if you have PE design, take my word for it, when you hold on the Alt key, it turns to a hand, and when you select the color, it turns to an eyedropper. I hope that's not too confusing, but the video came out pretty good, and the embroidery for the edge-to-edge quilting came out pretty good, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So let's go ahead and go to the computer. Okay, we're going to start right here in layout and editing. And what I want to do is I want to go into the design center to create this edge-to-edge quilting. So I'm going to go all the way over here to the corner and see where it says option. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to go to design center. And design center is a completely different program in PE design. I'm actually in PE design 10, if you're wondering, because I don't have 11 yet. So what I'm going to hit cancel here, and then I'm going to maximize this so it's nice and big. Then I'm going to go over here to where it says image, and I'm going to say open from file. And this is one of my image files, and I have actually gone into Google and found a clip art that I wanted. Let me see if I can find it. I have an awful lot of stuff in here. This one. This is the one I want. I'm going to hit open. And this is a little rough. I actually just put it in paint and saved it. So what I want to do is I want to zoom up here and choose the black. There's a little eyedropper. See the eyedropper? And then you click on the black, and it appears black right here. And if it picks up any white like this, you want to take the check mark out of the white so that it only does the black. And then I'm going to hit preview. And you see the way this is a little sketchy looking? I don't really want it to be sketchy looking. So I am going to bring this down a little lower and hopefully get a little bit blacker. And then hit the black again. And then hit preview. That's a little bit thicker than I want it to be. Let's go this way a little bit. Click on it and say preview. I think that's more like what I want, but I never know until I go to the next setting. So when I say okay and it shows it to me, that looks pretty good. I like that. I think I've got a pretty good black image there. So now the next thing I want to do, first thing I want to do before I do anything else, is I'm going to hit zoom, and I'm going to come all the way over here and see this. I don't want that. So there's an eraser, and you can choose the large eraser, and let's just erase that, get rid of it. So I don't have to worry about deleting it later. It's gone. So let's just zoom to fit window. And then let's go to figure handle. And we're going to just leave it the way it is at normal. And it's set for an 8 by
set for a pretty big size hoop. So let's just make it a little smaller like that. And then I say okay. All right. So that is not bad. It's nice clean lines. It's not dashes. It doesn't have any blobs. It does have one little blob right here. Let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to hit zoom, hit the plus sign, and right there's a little blob. But other than that, most of it looks pretty clean. I may have to delete a few things just to get rid of some stuff, but for the most part, it looks pretty good. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I'm going to hit the selector key. We have a selector key and then we have a select point. We want the selector key, and I'm going to select this, and I'm going to hit my delete button on my mouse. I could also right click and delete this way. Whoops! Undo, undo, undo. How did I do that? Let's do that again. I just want to delete that. Right click, delete. So that's gone. But I want to connect these back up again. I want to take out these little imperfections. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select my point edit. And if I select this point, again, let's zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. See that right there? So get your point edit, click on the little black box so it turns black in the inside, and then hit your delete button. So that went away, so I don't have that. And then I'm going to scroll up here to this point right here. I don't like that. So rather than delete that, I'm just going to drag it up a little bit so it comes up straight. So that point's gone now too. Now let's just zoom back out again. Zoomed. I should have probably said zoom to fit item, to fit object. Let's just do that there. Now we can see what we're doing here. So I think I like this pumpkin a lot, but I don't really want this part because I want to draw my own, and it's connected right there, which is a problem. But that's okay. We can fix that as well. So I'm going to click on my point edit tool, and I'm going to click this one here, and I'm going to hit delete. I'm going to delete this. And if I take my mouse and drag all the way across like this, come on, I'm going to select it first and then drag across like that. Turn them all black. I'm going to hit delete. And then I'm going to select this one and I'm going to drag across, turn them all black, and delete. So I just got rid of that, but it's still connected right here. So I'm going to show you a trick to make that connect. So let's just zoom in and let's go all the way so we're really close to this. We want to disconnect this right here. So if I get my selector tool and this is a red square. So a red square means you have three lines intersecting each other. So I need to turn that to a black square. So I'm going to right click and say split at point. Now you never know which one is going to split, but it split the one I wanted it to. So I'm going to hit my delete button on my keyboard and make that go away. And then this one here, again, is another red one. I'm going to select it, right click, split at point. And the software is pretty darn smart. It knew what I wanted to get rid of. So I'm going to delete that one. So then let's go back out to fit the object. Get my zoom button. Get really close so I can see what the heck I'm doing here. So select point. I'm going to click on that and delete it. Click on this and delete it. Okay, so now I pretty much got rid of the things I don't want. Now I need to connect these ones that I've cut. So basically the way you're going to do that, let's get close up again. Really close so we can see what we're doing. We got the point edit tool selected, and we've got 3 points that we want to connect to each other. So, and there's also one here that I need to connect. So what we're going to do is we're going to select it so it turns pink. We're going to click on the black box. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it over here till it's almost on top of that. I have to hold my Alt key down and a little hand like this appears. Then what I want to do, I'm using the mouse on my computer, so I'm trying to use 3 fingers at once. Okay. When I put the square right over the top of this one, I should be able to just let go and make them join each other. I'm a little bit confused. This one here. See the way that just turned red right there? Now I'm going to let go. Okay, try it again. Alt, get the hand, make it turn red, line it up with the other box, let go. Let's see how close this software will let me get. It won't let me get any closer. Okay, I'm going to try this again. I always struggle with it just a little bit. It probably would be better if I had a real mouse instead of using the mouse on my laptop. Aha, it worked. And I can tell it works because the black went away and there's a white one there. Look, that's connected. So we're going to do this again. We're going to take this square. We're going to take this square. We're going to hold the Alt key down. And we're going to put it right over the top of that one. I see a black one, so that's probably not right. Aha! I think I did it. I got another red square. See? That's all connected there. And then I need to connect this one too. And that one, I did it the first time. Not bad, huh? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom back out again. Let's go right up here so we can kind of see what I created here. I think this is the part that I'm not real thrilled about. It just needs some of these little boxes moved around. Let's just pull this one up a little bit here and maybe move this one a little bit back like this. So you can see this sometimes takes a little while to do this. And a long time ago, when I first got the software, when it was version 5, I actually would save like every 10 minutes just in case something went wrong and the software closed. There's nothing more frustrating than working for 20 minutes or to an hour and then having the computer say Windows has encountered a problem and needs to close. And you're like, no, you can't close. But the software has come a long way since then. And basically, it will save your work probably every 15 minutes or so. So that's good. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Fit Object, click off of it, go back up here to my selector key. That's not a bad little pumpkin. I think that looks pretty good. So let's zoom all the way to fit the window. I have this set for a 9.5 by 9.5 hoop, which is what my magnetic hoop is. So when I select my pumpkin that I created here, I can spin it around any way I want to. I can say Control D, that will duplicate that pumpkin, and I can move it over here, and I can move it there. Let's do another one. Control D. I could make them different sizes if I wanted to, but I don't want to. So And I'll fiddle with this a little bit more till I get it exactly the way I want it for my quilt. Um, but I want to show you how to connect these. So we have the grid set. The grid is under view and it'll say the grid with axis, and I've got 1 inch squares. But the most important part about that is that I want to be able to start on one point and end on one point. So when I rehoop it, I can line it up with the last stitch. So I'm going to start a stitch here and I'm going to go to each one of the pumpkins and connect them. And I don't care right now where that's going to be. This is my input line, and unfortunately it doesn't do curves. So when I select this, I'm going to click and click and click. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to do a little teeny short pull, click, a short pull, click, a short pull, click, short pull, click, a short pull, click. Because I don't want any rough edges, I want it to look like a curve. That's why I'm clicking my mouse so many times. I'm going to go a little bit faster than I should because I don't want to take forever. So you can see I've got some sharp lines, but that's okay because I'll go back and clean those up in a minute. The important part is I'm going to go off the hoop right here and I'm double click there. And then I can connect from the bottom of this pumpkin here and maybe go up this way. That's pretty bad, but I don't care. I'm going to connect this right here. Double click. Now I want to show you how I'm going to connect these. So let's get really close. We're going to use the zoom tool. Now I've already kind of shown you how to do this, but same way, we're going to click on that. We're going to turn this box black. We're going to hold down the Alt key so we get the hand. We're going to make sure it overlaps on one of the other boxes. And see, that didn't turn black, so it's probably didn't work. Hold the Alt key again, get the hand, wait till we get a red box. Aha, that connected. And we're going to do it all over it. So let's see if I can do that, and then I'll come back in just a minute and I'll show you exactly what we're going to end up with. Okay, I came back and I have redrawn some of these so they're a little bit different than they were when I was doing it before. And the reason for that is I started to think about it and I want this to do a continuous sew. And the way I had it, it jumped all over the place. So this way I've got it set so it goes first to this pumpkin and then to this pumpkin and then does some swirlies and then goes to this pumpkin and then goes back out again. And I can't guarantee it's going to start from here and end over here because this software doesn't give you a start end point, but for the most part it's not going to stop and cut the thread and jump, and that's what is the most important part to me. So before we move to the next step, I want to show you a little bit because I kind of stopped you before I got any editing done. So I'm going to go up here to zoom, and I'm going to zoom down in here where I can see some parts that are a little bit crooked and straight where I don't want them. And I just wanted to show you that if I get the select point and I get the little gray boxes, I can click on the line and I can pull any of these out. And the more boxes I add to it, the rounder it's going to look. So yes, it could take some time cleaning it up and moving it and changing it if you go too quick when you're first laying down your shapes, but it's according to how much you want that to be curved and how much whether you don't care or not. So like I've got a little bit of a sharp corner right here, so I'm going to pull that out. And maybe make this a little more curved here. I can move these down and just kind of clean this up a little bit. Oh, there's a straight line right there I don't like too, so let's clean that up. Okay. Okay, I'm going to call that done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to zoom back out and take a look at my pumpkin. Go back to the selector button so all the little gray boxes disappear. That looks pretty good to me. That and it's when I rehoop it, here's one end and here's the other end, and that's what's important. And I got my pumpkins and they're connected and it looks kind of like quilting to me. So we have one more step we have to do. The sew setting is the last step. This is where you would fill it with color if you wanted to color it in and make it an embroidery. This is a running stitch, so we're not going to add any color to it. This is the region fill. This is your line. So we're going to hit the line and we're going to click on it and see if it all turns, and it all turned red. I always call these like the little running ants all over. So that's telling me that they're all connected. I didn't leave any parts that were not connected to each other. But let's just to make sure, let's hit the stitch simulator. And this stitch simulator is going to show me how this is going to sew out. So let's hit that and see. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to hit that. So it did not start in the corner. It started right there. But I can tell it'll stop and jump if they're not connected. It's not a continuous line. So far it's still running across the top of it and showing me a continuous line. It didn't finish that pumpkin right there, but I think it'll come back because usually a running stitch is not just one line. It goes like a double line. So it just went back over that one. Oh yeah, see, it's going to finish that pumpkin there. That's good. And I have some wobbly lines there, but for the most part, I think it looks pretty good. And no one's going to see that in my quilting. So, yeah, so that works really good. I really like it. I think it's pretty good. It's finishing it up and it's done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to X out of this. The last step that you need to do, you could change the color. I'm going to leave it black. That's fine. Is I have to send it to layout and editing. I cannot save it here because it's not a PES embroidery yet. So I'm going to hit this. Oh my, I have something in here that I didn't remember putting in here. Let's see if I can. Let's just ignore that. That's another quilt I'm working on. So let's see. It says magnification 100%. That's what we want. We want to import it as stitches, and we want it to the orientation to be up and down, not sideways. So we're going to hit import, and it should import that. So now I'm just going to select. Let's just select everything and delete it. And then what I'm going to do, and this is a good idea for you to see anyway, because you should be able to know how to do this. You're going to put import patterns from Design Center. And that same box will appear, and then we're going to say import, and there it is. So now it is an embroidery design, and it's imported as stitches, and we can save it as a PES, and I can go ahead and I can sew this out on my quilt. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to send it to my sewing machine, and I'm going to start quilting my quilt, and I'll show you what it looks like.
Okay, so I'm back. And before we get into the quilting part of this quilt, I wanted to point out to you that my sewing room has changed again. I have a brand new cabinet right here on my side, and I have my serger sitting here, and you can see my embroidery machine in the back. And actually, my sewing machine is a little bit further onto my right. My sewing room is really beginning to fill up and be a little bit more organized. I have to say thank you to my friend Brenda, because she's the one who gave me this new cabinet. That's one of the things I just really love about the sewing community is we all want everybody to sew. And so I meet ladies every day who say, I'm going to buy a new sewing machine. I want the latest and greatest. But I also would like to give this older sewing machine to my granddaughter or my daughter or my sister or my next door neighbor or something like that, because we want them to have as much fun as we're having sewing and quilting and creating and doing all the different things. So I just think that's really great, and I'm very grateful to Brenda for giving me this cabinet when she got a new one, and probably someday when I get new ones I'll pass them on to someone else, because it's a great hobby. So anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent there. Anyway, so this is the quilt. that I was working on, and it is all flannel. It has flannel on the top, and I put flannel on the back, and I even put some batting inside of it, and I probably shouldn't have done that because it made it very, very heavy. So when I went to put it in the hoop, I literally had to stand around my embroidery machine holding up the edges of it the whole time, and even then it dragged a little bit. And I'll put a picture up of one of the first ones I did where it pulled a little bit and it didn't line up. But I'm not really unhappy with it because it kind of almost looks like I did it free motion, which I didn't, but that's okay because it looks good. And then as I went along, I got better at holding it up. My daughter came downstairs one day when I was standing there holding the quilt up all around all the corners. She's like, "What are you doing?" But that's sometimes what we've got to do if we want to do our quilting in the embroidery hoop on our embroidery machine. And it worked out really good. I still have some work to do on it. It's not finished yet, and you can see that the edges haven't been trimmed and I haven't put the binding on it, and I will get that done. And if you are in the Colorado area and you attend Rocky Mountain Sewing and Vacuum Sew Funds, I will be showing this in October at Sew Fun. So come and see it completely finished because I think it came out really beautiful. I really enjoyed it a whole lot making this quilt. And the other part I wanted to mention was this is not a real true edge to edge, and I think I said that earlier in the video, but I just wanted to repeat it. It doesn't start at one end and end at the other. I could have, in layout and editing on PE Design, literally started on one edge, clicked around a path and followed it and ended on the other end, and then it would have been a real true edge to edge. But I'm not trying to make this to resell. I just wanted to make it so that it would go with my pumpkin quilt and put pumpkins in the quilting, and for that I'm very happy with it. It didn't stop and cut the thread. It did a continuous sew. It just started in the middle somewhere and worked its way back and forth. The way the software is very good at figuring out the shortest and easiest path, and that's what it did for me. And as I said before, I'm very happy with it. I'll put a few pictures up to kind of give you an idea of what it looked like. And well, I think that's all we got for this video today. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and like and subscribe, make a comment, let me know maybe something that you'd like to see next, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.